I was wanting to focus on making the protein in these patties really high so that they can be paired with almost anything. Also wanted to make them fairly low calorie and very macro friendly, and what came out the other side was exactly that. So without further ado, let's just jump into this recipe. Apologies in advance, this video is not going to be too flash, it's just going to be a voiceover with some basic footage from some of the steps of the recipe. So the ingredients listed here are for 2 patties. You'll really only need 1 patty per meal, whatever you choose to serve these patties with, whether it's a side of quinoa and vegetables like I did, or whether it's just within a burger bun like a traditional burger. You need half a can of black beans, 120 grams, 30 grams of wheat gluten, so the vital wheat gluten, that's just pretty much flour that's had its carbohydrate content taken out, 25 grams of TVP, textured vegetable protein, 15 grams of rolled oats, half a small onion, 1 clove of garlic, half a tablespoon of linseed, ground, that's quite important, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, half a tablespoon of soy sauce. I used reduced salt. If you want to bring down the sodium a bit more, definitely use reduced salt. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of turmeric, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of iodized salt. Okay, so we're going to first start by rehydrating our TVP with 1/4 cup of water. Then you can go ahead and get those black beans mashed up. I personally use just a smoothie maker, does the job. I like to have some unblended, it gives a nice little texture to the burger. I had the onions going on a frying pan, just cooked until translucent, and then after transferring the mashed black beans into a large mixing bowl, added all of the ingredients, so starting with nutritional yeast, the rolled oats, the linseed, turmeric, the smoked paprika. I used garlic powder here instead of the clove. You can pretty much use either or. The allocated amount of iodized salt, and then pepper just to your preferred taste. Then I kind of mixed all that in and then added in the vital wheat gluten. Then I added the cooked onions and then all of the liquids on top of that. So we had the soy sauce, and because I'm bulking, I used a bit of olive oil, but that's not counted in the ingredients in this recipe. I just did that because I wanted a bit more caloric density in the patty. So I mixed that all together, and I actually added a tiny bit of water as well added there. But you need to be very careful with the amount of water you actually add to this recipe, because it's very easy to make it too watery and you'll just ruin the whole patty and the whole texture. So you want it to be sticky enough to form and hold its form, but not sticky enough to stick to your hands when you're forming them, or not to a significant amount anyway. So if you fold the amount at the start of the video, you'll be able to make 2 fairly large patties. I obviously made more, so you can just multiply the recipe by how many meals you want. Now the secret to veggie burgers like this is to actually freeze them. Place them in the freezer for about 10 minutes. This not only allows the mixture to set a bit more, but also to stick together better, and when you cook them, you'll definitely see the difference if you were to do, one that was just sitting at room temperature and then what was sitting in the freezer. So meanwhile I have those freezing for 10 minutes, I put on my quinoa and my veggies. This is just how I personally served it. It goes well with most things. I think it's a pretty versatile recipe, so go wild. Then take them out the freezer, and you want to put them on the frying pan and cook them on a medium heat. Now one thing I did do when I cooked them the second time is, because my mixture was slightly too wet, I put them in the oven for 10 minutes beforehand at 180 degrees. That dried them out a bit and actually gave it a better texture, and then I added them to the frying pan after they were baked in the oven for a bit. So you can play around with this, but like I said, it's only because I think I made that mixture too wet. So if you don't make it as wet and you make it a bit dry, don't have too much water, I think you should be able to nail it first time just on the frying pan. So as you can see, yes, served it with the quinoa mix, with some sweet potato, some corn, some tomato, some lettuce at the bottom as well. Then I finished it off with some egg-free mayo. So here are the macros just for the patty, not for the whole meal, just for one patty, 962 kilojoules, which works out to just over 200 calories, 26 grams of protein, 3 grams of fat, and 20 grams of carbs. So very macro-friendly recipe, can be included and adopted in many diets, so yeah, definitely get on this recipe and give it a try. Then the macros with the quinoa mix that I used, just as an example of how you can build a meal around these patties. I got 2,469 kilojoules, 38 grams of protein, 7 grams of fat, and 83 grams of carbs. So a very solid meal for building some muscle. Pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching this recipe. Definitely expect some more content from our YouTube channel in the future. So if you want to stay tuned with that, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.